Hi there to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for joining us on this last edition of this week on Equinoxe Television in the English language. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. I'm just this evening, viewers. Cases of severe physical torture of minors and child abuse have been frequent in Cameroon lately. Today we got information of a 12-year-old boy who was tied up, severely beaten and abandoned in an isolated area without food nor water by the stepmother. The torture was meted on that boy by the stepmother, as I earlier indicated, and the perpetrator is under police custody here in Douala. Our reporters were at the Brazzaville neighborhood where the child is presently being taken care of, and we will be telling you more in this news edition. And on the Anglophone crisis, the devastating consequences of lockdown in the northwest and southwest regions can already be felt in other parts of the country. Foodstuff, especially tomatoes and fresh vegetables, are now really expensive in markets in the economic capital Douala, since a huge quantity is bought from Boya and Bamenda before being transported to Douala. We made a stop over at some markets here in the economic capital Douala, and also we will be telling you more in this edition. And in politics, Barrister Keremuna, presidential candidate for the October 12 presidential election, says it's imperative at this moment for opposition parties to bury every hatchet and speak as one voice or one man if they really want to kick out the ruling party after October 12. Viewers, those are our list stories. Details and more in just a moment. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for the confidence. However, we begin with this very sad news element. It is another case of child abuse or child torture here in Douala. This time it is that of an 11-year-old boy who was mercilessly beaten by his stepmother, his hands tied up and abandoned in a bush that was at the Peka Karant neighborhood here in the economic capital Douala. Backup James Maxime was left in the bush despite the dangers, without food or water. This cruel act has been strongly condemned by the neighbors residing in Brazzaville here in the economic capital Douala, and in anger they attempted to render mob justice on the perpetrator. At the moment, the accused is answering for her crimes at the 8th District Police Station in Douala. Lucy Liengu is here, tells us more.
Without food or water, 11-year-old backup James Maxime spent 2 weeks with his hands and feet tied up in a bush at Peka Karant in the Douala 3 municipality.
He carry pikin for holiday time, he go for bush for Peka Karant. See, he want go work for bush with his massa.
Little Maxime was rescued by hunter in a pathetic condition in the very bush where his stepmother had left him.
He asked for pikin, say, who don't make him for you so? He said, a woman for your papa. They asked for pikin, say, if he get number for your papa, pikin say, yes, he get number for your papa. They call papa can meet up pikin. Pikin don't finish make 2 weeks inside bush.
Disfigured with swollen feet and his body almost paralyzed, the 11-year-old was rushed to the Tegal hospital by his father for medical attention. However, his health condition is critical as he is unable to control his bowel movements.
Now the stick we take and take pick, he don't broke always for pikin. You see food for pikin, food for pikin don't high. If he hates so you don't broke him.
He was found with a heavy stick by his side, which had been used by his stepmother before he was tied up. According to neighbors, Maxime has been suffering from a tender age ever since he was abandoned by his mother.
Now, woman, you don't come marry with your papa don't take pikin. Mommy for that pikin don't born. You don't can hip for house for your papa for 2 months.
They also revealed that Jacomen, the alleged perpetrator, frequently accused the child of stealing her money and would sometimes punish him for hours without providing food.
Woman before us, if you all beat pikin, give work for pikin, accuse pikin, say pikin don't thief money.
This cruel behavior has not gone unnoticed. Many condemn Jacomen for being heartless and a woman who mistreats even her own children.
Comment elle s'appelle Jacomène? C'est une criminelle d'abord d'office, une criminelle. Elle maltraite ses enfants depuis des années.
While his friends have begun classes, it's unfortunate that 11-year-old Maxine, a Form 2 student, finds himself in the hospital instead.
J'ai demandé pourquoi tu n'es pas plus à l'école. Mon père a donné l'argent, ma mère a dit que je ne l'ai pas.
Meantime, the alleged perpetrator is reportedly detained at the 8th District Police Station in Douala, where she is being held for her crimes. This recent case of child abuse adds to the growing number of such incidents recorded in the city of Douala.
Sad indeed. Parents, especially mothers, no matter how difficult it gets, it's important to stay with your children. Now let's talk something else. Activities are back to normal in Limbe in the southwest region, with residents going about their activities normally unperturbed despite yesterday's incident of an alleged attack by unknown gunmen, which left so many people or some people injured and caused widespread panic. Limbe-based correspondent Davison Maimo went investigating and tells us more in the report which comes up next.
An in-depth investigation by this reporter into what happened on Thursday, the 18th of September 2025 in Limbe, revealed it was a deliberate act by some individuals to instill fear in the population. According to our sources, at exactly 2:45 p.m. on Thursday, when schools were closing, a group of bike riders descending the Maitri stretch of road split into two groups, riding past areas where schools are located and shouting that there was ongoing shooting. The riders at each stop who claimed there was shooting at their previous stop. Their intention was to cause panic and fear among parents and school children who might not want to attend school the next day due to the fear of the unknown. The panic was more severe in Limbe 2 subdivision, prompting the divisional officer, Serge Michael Abel, and the mayor of the municipality, Chief Ndive Kangale, to visit various commercial motorbike parks to sensitize riders about the danger of their involvement in such activities, while assuring them of the measures in place by state defense and security elements.
The reason why we decided to come and tell them that they should not follow the rumors. They should not follow hearsay, as we always talk in our country talk for years. They should not follow the hearsay. They should always verify information before they want to carry it. And we came to tell them that we are working together.
But after investigation, we realized that there was nothing in particular. It was just a rumor that put some people into panic, and it could have caused a stampede within the process. So we had to come and gather the bike riders from different bike parks to educate them and encourage them to continue their daily activities very peacefully and normally.
Although classes for the 2025-2026 school year are ongoing in Limbe hitch-free, some parents are yet to send their children to school due to the lockdown imposed by Anglophone separatist fighters. However, despite Thursday incident, activities are ongoing in the entire Limbe unperturbed.
Meantime, inhabitants of Nyalakambo in the Douala 3 subdivision are calling on local authorities to assist them in rehabilitating the road which leads to the main home for the elderly within the subdivision. Because of the poor state of the road, so many activities in the zone have been grounded, especially when it rains. Majikan Gabriel reports.
A main road gradually being transformed into a footpath. We are in Nyalakambo, where the inhabitants are calling on local authorities to come rehabilitate this stretch of road, which is of great importance to them. The only problem we have is that of the road. Transporting an old person here is a very hectic task. I'm pleading with the government to help rehabilitate the road to enable free access to the home for the old persons. This stretch of roads, which is leading to a home for the elderly people, remains a key hindrance for the transportation of these elderly people to the center. Elderly people in Cameroon face a significant poverty and neglect, with a lack of social insurance, healthcare access, and adequate facilities like retirement homes. I met with people here who are mentally sick and they are well taken care of.
People, because
they look good.
It should be recalled that many elderly people experience marginalization, abandonment, and poor housing, which leads to health issues and limits quality of life.
And traders within the city of Douala say the lockdown imposed by separatists in the northwest and southwest regions of the country is dealing with them somehow. Foodstuffs no longer come from the crisis-stricken regions, especially tomatoes and other fresh vegetables, leading to scarcity. They now only manage to afford in limited quantity from the Mongo division. Our reporter Innocent Azemede stopped over at some markets here in Douala and tells us more in the report which comes up next.
As the saying goes, what affects cocoa affects coffee. The separatists imposed the lockdown that is tormenting the population of Cameroon's two English-speaking regions. Is also suffocating Cameroonians in other regions economically. Families face it hard to afford 2 square meals a day due to hike in prices of foodstuffs in the markets. Traders refute the blame, stating the lockdown.
At times we sold this one for 100 francs, but now it's now expensive. We sell one like this 800, 700, 600. We can live for 500 francs. Yes, but this one now, there's times that we buy one for 2,000, 2,500. But now we buy 1,700, 2,000, 1,800 for now. Yes, it's so expensive.
Packet arrow we buy for maybe 1,500, 1,600. They don't go up to 2,000. So one day even 2,500. We need to be able again for sale. What I live with the buy 200, 300 now they say one at times even 500. They affect with another fee buy.
Since goods no longer come in from the two regions in crisis, they are compelled to scramble for the scarce food items in the Mongo division of the Litowa region at great cost.
This is water fufu. We are buying it at Mongo division. When we're buying this fufu in Southwest, it was a little bit bigger. Those people here in Mongo, they don't know how to tie it. If the war was not in Southwest, this one now, we buy it for 250 and we sell for 300 francs, which means there is no gain. The
deplorable road infrastructures in President Paul Biya's country, particularly at the west entry into Douala, has also worsened matters.
No get road for pass. If you check your transportation, if you pay here and go to Mongo to go and buy it, and then you pay and come back, we are not making any gain.
Hope is for the lockdown to be cut off or complete resolution of the crisis in the Anglophone regions.
We need the only prayer now say me goes down no day. Me they solve the crisis completely so that we be able to do our normal activities and normal.
Me country be one as it be first day so that all things the work are fine.
With that attained, standards of living will certainly improve. With fall in prices of commodities in the market, And now in politics, Batonia Keremuna, a presidential hopeful and candidate in the October 12 presidential election, has called for opposition unity ahead of the elections. The Universe Party flag bearer wants that division among opposition candidates could hand President Paul Biya another term in office. Muna emphasized the need for a united front to defeat President Paul Biya, who has been in power for over 40 years now. For me, Armstrong Sander has the details.
This is one chance we'll get for this lifetime. One chance we'll get.
Akere Tambeng Muna, himself a presidential hopeful, urged his fellow opposition candidates to set aside personal ambition and form a united front ahead of Cameroon's October 12 presidential election.
11 different voices. Any man they talk his own, any man they talk his own. They go his own side.
Akere Muna warns that a fragmented opposition risks handing President Paul Biya yet another mandate after 42 years in power.
And we know state division. Maybe we poison.
He described the election as a referendum on whether Cameroonians will end decades of decay or resign themselves to continued paralysis.
This one in Cameroon, for over 40 years, it's just they go down with the look up.
Directly addressing two key candidates from the northern parts of the country, notably Bello Buba Magari and Issa Chiroma Bakari, Akere Muna accused them of dividing a crucial voting bloc, that is the vote of the Grand North.
If we are not joined, it means say the suffer where this country go see him. Now we don't bring the suffer.
He went further to call for an immediate meeting to seal unity, stressing that a vote for division is a vote for Paul Biya. Akeremuna in his outing went further to call on Cameroonians to demand cooperation from their leaders.
Not the ordinary vote.
Declaring that October 12th should not just be a normal voting day for Cameroonians, but be a moment to bury an era and awaken a nation.
Now the vote way it will be like judgment. We get only one question for answer. Whether we will continue to suffer, or we come up for the whole world day, we will see light again.
And despite all of those, prospective voters have begun retrieving their voter cards at some election booths or centers here in the economic capital, Douala. Our reporter Cedric Chakuto made a stop over at one of those centers at the Congo neighborhood in Douala and now tells us how it is happening there.
To the presidential elections, Cameroonians are still running to remove their electoral card so as to vote. To some, having this card in their possession would permit them to vote for change at the head of the state. I came to collect my electoral card for October 12th, of course, because even when I sleep, I have it in the back of my mind.
En fait, c'est pour voter, le droit civique, quoi. On veut un changement parce qu'on veut la liberté des Camerounais. Qu'on soit libre, parce qu'on n'est pas libre depuis.
To fulfill my civic duty and also want change through voting, let everyone do it. I call on all Cameroonians to collect their cards. Though they observe some disorder in the opposition, Douala city dwellers express their will for a change. According to them, this is for the future generations. I am not doing this for myself. I have already lived my own life. If I want change, it is for the future generations. My children are in primary school right now, and I'm struggling to feed them. They could live through the worst if nothing changes, so I have to vote so as to change things right now. While some are celebrating after they had obtained their electoral card, others are frustrated because, since they registered on the electoral list, they are unable to retrieve their electoral card. Too many problems since I registered on the electoral list. I am unable to collect my electoral card. I have done more than 2 hours on the spot, but they say they searched my card but can't find it. I will wait. I need to have this card so as to be able to vote for a change. As the presidential election draws near, Cameroonians are eager to vote the coming day.
Thanks, Cedric. And that report brings us to the end of the first part of the news. Let's now move on to talking points. Welcome back, viewers. So our guest tonight is Shewa David. He is a political actor. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting to be our guest on the news tonight. Now we will be talking about the coalition, the call for a coalition or an alliance, a unique or consensual candidate. There have been calls coming from almost everywhere, calls on the 11 candidates to come together for a coalition and put forth a candidate who can challenge President Paul Biya on October 12th in a bid to have a change. Shewa David, what is your take on these calls for the opposition to come together and speak as one voice?
Thank you. Thank you for this great opportunity, Equinoxe television. Well, I want to make it clear to all Cameroonians, I am a liberator. I stand my political party, Democratic Liberation. So I am a liberator, and once you're a liberator, all that you give, you say the truth and stands for the truth. What Cameroonians ought to know today, and in short, in their hearts and in their minds, they should know that all these 11, almost all these 11 candidates that were invested, all these candidates are linked to the regime in one way or the other, thus being manipulated by the regime. So, if Cameroonians are waiting for these candidates, that they should form a coalition, because from every indications, the present regime is using them not to accept for any genuine coalition. And for us to know the truth, and nothing but the truth, I need to quote so that you will believe me, you that is watching me. Because you should listen to my voice. All that I need is that you people should listen to my voice. I am a voice of change. And the coalition that we're going to form now is just the coalitions of voters. That's you and myself that wants the change. As you listen to the voice of the liberator, from now, form the coalition. Tell other voters, this is the candidate we are going to vote. And when we vote, we will stand there and we'll secure the votes, and the victory will come. Because if you guys are waiting for that among these 11 candidates, that they will sit down to bring a genuine candidate, it will not work. And what most of these candidates now are doing, they are coming behind to see some of us proposing money so that we should stand with them. And it's the money that they have taken from this regime. I, for one, am a genuine and I'm a straightforward individual. As envisaged, the problems that my community are really facing. Problem of the Boko Haram in the Far North region that was being declared. That the war was declared against the Boko Haram insurgency since in 2014. That's 2014. Then coming back with the Anglophone crisis. That is where my problems are lying. And if all these issues are being resolved, I think I will be more happier than any other Cameroonian.
David, according to you, what is hindering the opposition candidates from coming together? Is it just manipulation like you're trying to indicate by the regime, or their individualistic interests?
Yes, all the two works. There is, first of all, the manipulation by the regime and their selfish interests. First of all, the selfish interests they have, most of them, all of this, I can say all of this, I say 90% of them, their egoistic interest they are having is to become a minister in the regime of Pobia. We all know that it's no longer Pobia that is the president of the republic, or that is managing the affairs of the countries. We all know, like what happened to myself and Maurice Kamto. They already noticed and spotted that the main opposition leaders, or people who cannot listen, who cannot adhere to their proposals, that the best option was to have sent all of us out of the game. And that is what they did. That's why I said 90% of these guys are being sponsored. I will start by this, the current candidates that are like alarming. Let me start with Issa Chiroma. Issa Chiroma, when we look at this man, Issa Chiroma, from the beginning, from the onset, he was like against the regime before he was appointed as a Minister of Communication. Once he was appointed as Minister of Communication, he joined the government and became something else. He said Pobia has another 100 years to stay in power. Has the 100 years arrived? No. And when we look at the Anglophone crisis, he's one of those that, in short, that ignited that, that fire. He caused a lot of havoc between the Anglophone crisis and the Boko Haram insurgency. Issa Chiroma was neither the Minister of Defense. He was he was a Minister of Communication that needs to communicate what the head of state instruct him, not using his own personal, egoistic interests to address the nation.
Well, Minister Issa Chiroma was the Minister for Communication and he was playing his role, Mr. Shewa David. Now, if the opposition candidates were to come together, will it make it relatively possible to unseat the BR regime, which has been there for over 43 years and masters the system somehow to solve all the problems in Cameroon if they were to speak as one man, as a single voice?
Sister Annabella, what I'm telling you is this. The opposition, sorry that I have gone very far, but coming back to the real point in summary, when I say Issa Chiroma came out as a president. Why? And why I said he's been manipulated by the regime is because when the regime noticed that the Grand as a whole, were against the CPDM and against the Pobia, because they knew that Pobia was not the one rolling again. And they decided that they will no longer vote the regime. They sent envoys who went there trying to do negotiations and everything. Nothing was going. That is when now Issa Chiroma and Bello Buba, the regime decided to use them to come up to absorb the vote counts of this of the extreme north, because they know that it is where the majority of vote comes. So they decided now that them should come out and declare that there should be for presidential candidate. You see, Issa Chiroma, when he came out, he even resigned, but Bello Buba did not even resign. There is something that Cameroonians cannot understand. I'm telling them. Some of them, I don't know whether they are using charms, because I'm aware that some of them they are using marabouts. That's marabouts that they should catch you people and you people should not reason well. But I'm talking here in the name of Jesus. That as you are listening to me, if you are part of those that they have caged using you're not using jazz, that you should not reason and you should be following what they are saying, please listen to me. As you are listening to my voice, you should be delivered immediately in Jesus' name. What I am telling you is this. Issa Chiroma, Bello Buba came out because the regime already noticed that they have lost the ground now. And the solution were that first, Issa Chiroma should resign and declare independently as a presidential candidate. Bello Buba should come out and declare independently as a presidential candidate so that they will absorb the vote counts. That's why you will see up to now it's difficult for them to come as one person, because they are now seeing that if they come as one person, people can rally and vote and the victory will come. We should be very watchful, because their plans are they will form a coalition.
That is your opinion, Shewa David, which also counts, but also to let you know that Issa Chiroma and Bello Buba are the favorites of some Cameroonians as we speak. Thank you so much, Shewa, for accepting to be our guest on the news tonight. And viewers, we thank you so much for being with us. That was what we put together for you this evening. Our programs continue. Equinoxe will be yours at 7 p.m. and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and your day in the company of programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.